that standardized test scores are a good basis to show the progress and the improvements of the charters.
I've been reading a lot of like NCES.
We read a
standardized
lot about
like testing and how those scores have been kind of. It's like an article in the Washington Post, and like charter schools scored, I think, pretty well on them as compared to traditional schools. And there was like a lot of, it's the teachers, it's the students. But do you think that the standardized test scores are a good basis for judging school reform, or should it be more like individual students improvements, or something, or some other?
We don't have great tests yet. A lot of the tests we have, they're like big box stores, right? We all love Walmart, we all love Target, Home Depot, etc. But tests are sort of equivalent of that, right? We have standards we want kids to be held accountable for. Then we go buy a test from a great big publisher, our big box, if you will, in education. And then we start giving them to kids, and then we make conclusions. And for the most part, it's pretty fair to look year after year at similar tests and make some conclusions about whether a school is doing well over time. But you also have to include graduation rates. You have to include mobility. If lots of kids leave and fluctuate, there's something wrong. I don't care how poor the neighborhood is. Great schools actually attract people, and parents, even the poorest parents, work hard to stay near a school. But your point is a really good one. The best kind of test is tracking individual students, where they came in and where they ended up. And so it's an expensive proposition. It takes a lot of time, but we really believe that, and it's called value added in the jargon, the lexicon of education reform. We really believe that if schools were judged based on value added, which is a small piece of the way charters are evaluated here in DC, it's a piece of the way they're evaluated in places like California. But if we do measure people over time, then you not only can see how well a student is progressing, you can compare it to their teachers and see which teachers help add that value over time. So what you'll see about DC schools in the aggregate is, they are actually doing a lot better than traditional public schools in the same neighborhood, but over time their kids actually catch up faster than kids in traditional public schools. And we only know that because those individual schools are measuring as well.
So do you think that would be like a help, like within an individual school, to like say, well, this teacher is really not helping these individual students perform better, therefore something's wrong maybe with that teacher that needs to be fixed?
Right.
Would that be another way to hold the system kind of accountable?
Exactly. That let's look at the public evaluations year after year. Let's look at the test scores, and let's see, if the same fifth graders in math are not progressing, where's the root cause? And they actually have begun to do that in some systems. Again, the traditional public school system has a hard time doing that because your contract actually doesn't allow you. There are some union contracts that do not allow you to measure a teacher on whether or not they're teaching and how they're teaching. This is like there have been lawsuits fought over that there should be no correlation between teaching and learning.
Why do they think that?
Because they don't believe okay, great question. So they would say, I'll play the union person now. If I'm a union person, I would say, because I'm not responsible for how the child is that comes to my classroom, so I shouldn't be measured on how well they progress. Our point is, yes, but if we take a snapshot of where they are when they come in, and then at the end of the year, you see where they went, then you can extrapolate some averages. Maybe not with everyone, but let's say after 3 years, if all of you kept going through Miss Jennett's class, and year after year, Miss Jennett's doesn't really move these kids very far, is it really all those 90 kids after 3 years? Or is it the teacher? So longer picture, more testing, but not as much testing.
Okay.
Standardized test for standardized test, bubble test, did you know a day, fine. It's not really necessary. What's really necessary is, can they read, write, spell, do math, and get salient facts? If they're getting the basics right, it's likely they're getting the other stuff right, and then the school should be able to evaluate those.